Hello, everyone, and welcome to English Today Journey. I am very happy that you are here with me today. Before we begin, I just want to remind you to subscribe so you can receive daily English tips and lessons. Thank you for being part of this learning journey. Hello, dear listeners, and welcome back to English Today Journey. This is a place where you can improve your English step by step while also learning useful ideas that can help you live a better and healthier life. I truly appreciate you spending your time with me today. My name is Jason, and I will be your host for this podcast. On this podcast, we talk about many different topics. All of these topics are chosen to help you practice listening and speaking in English. We focus on clear pronunciation, simple explanations, and real examples so you can understand easily. But this podcast is not only about English. We also talk about real-life lessons, helpful advice, and important skills that you can use every day. This means that while you are learning English, you are also learning how to grow as a person and make better choices in your life. Today's topic is something that many people find difficult. We're going to talk about how to set boundaries with people. You may have heard the word boundaries before. Maybe you think you understand what it means, or maybe you are not completely sure. Even if you know the meaning, setting boundaries in real life can still feel very hard. This is normal, and you are not alone. Many people struggle with this, especially when they do not want to hurt others or feel guilty. In today's episode, we will take things slowly and go step by step. First, we will explain what boundaries are in a very clear and simple way. Then, we will talk about how you can start setting boundaries in your own life. I want you to feel comfortable and confident by the end of this episode. My goal is to help you understand this topic well and also give you good English listening practice at the same time. So, why are boundaries so important? When you do not have clear boundaries, other people may take more of your time, energy, or personal space than you want to give. This can slowly make you feel tired, stressed, and emotionally drained. You may notice that you often do things you do not enjoy, or you say yes to requests even when you really want to say no. Setting boundaries helps protect your time, your energy, and your feelings. Boundaries are a way to communicate clearly with others about what is okay and what is not okay for you. They also help people understand how you want to be treated. Most importantly, setting boundaries is a way to show your self-respect. It shows that you value your needs, your emotions, and your well-being. In this episode, we will talk about several important things related to boundaries. First, we will explain what boundaries really are and why they are so important in everyday life. Then, we'll talk about why it can sometimes feel difficult to set boundaries, even when you know they are necessary. Many people understand boundaries in their mind, but still struggle to use them in real situations, and we will explain why this happens. Next, we will discuss how you can notice the signs that tell you it is time to set a boundary. Sometimes your body, emotions, or thoughts give you small signals, but you may not notice them right away. We will help you understand these signs more clearly. After that, we will share simple and practical steps you can use to set boundaries in common daily situations, such as at work, with family, or with friends. We will also talk about how people might react when you set a boundary. Not everyone will respond in the same way. Some people may understand and respect you, while others may feel surprised, uncomfortable, or even upset. This is normal. We will explain how to handle these reactions calmly and with confidence, without feeling guilty or afraid. Finally, we will talk about the positive changes that can happen in your life when you start setting healthy boundaries. You may feel less stressed and less tired. You may have more time and energy for yourself. You may also notice that your relationships become stronger, healthier, and more respectful because people understand you better. So now, make yourself comfortable. Sit back, relax, and prepare to learn something new. You can listen to this episode many times to practice your English. You can also try repeating some sentences out loud with me to improve your pronunciation and confidence. Learning works best when you practice slowly and regularly. Here at Super English Talks, our goal is very simple. We want to help you learn English in a way that is fun, easy to understand, and useful in real life. We want you to feel relaxed and confident while learning. Now let's begin. What are boundaries? Let's start by clearly understanding this word. The word boundary may sound a little strange or new, but the idea is actually very simple. A boundary is like an invisible line that you create. This line shows where something starts and where it ends. It is your personal way of saying, "This is okay for me," or "This is not okay for me." Boundaries help other people understand what makes you feel comfortable and what makes you feel uncomfortable. They help protect your feelings, your time, and your personal space. You can think of boundaries as small personal rules that you create for yourself and for others. These rules help you feel safe, respected, and emotionally balanced. There are many different types of boundaries in life. Let's talk about some common ones. The first type is emotional boundaries. Emotional boundaries are about your feelings and emotions. For example, you may not feel comfortable sharing very personal or private information with everyone. You might choose carefully who you open up to, and that is completely okay. You may not feel comfortable sharing your personal stories with someone you do not trust yet. You may also feel upset when someone talks to you in a rude, angry, or hurtful way. These feelings are important, and they're signs that you may need an emotional boundary. When you set an emotional boundary, you are clearly telling others how you want to be treated. You are saying, "This is how I expect people to speak to me," or "I do not feel comfortable when you talk to me like that." Now, let's look more closely at different types of boundaries and how you can set them in real life. First, emotional boundaries. As we mentioned earlier, emotional boundaries help protect your feelings and emotions. Sometimes people may say things that feel disrespectful, unkind, or painful. Other times, they may ask you to share very personal information when you're not ready. In these moments, it is okay to speak up for yourself. You can use simple and polite sentences like, "Please don't speak to me like that," or "I'm not ready to talk about this right now." When you say these things, you're showing self-respect and taking care of your emotional health. Second, physical boundaries. Physical boundaries are about your body and your personal space. Imagine you're sitting on a bus or train, and someone sits very close to you even though there are many empty seats. This can make you feel uncomfortable. Or maybe you do not like being touched without permission, even if the other person thinks they're being friendly. Physical boundaries help people understand how close they can be to you and what kind of touch is okay for you. You can calmly say something like, "Please give me some space," or "I don't feel comfortable with hugs, thank you." These sentences are clear, polite, and respectful. Third, time boundaries. Time is very valuable, and time boundaries help protect how you use it. Everyone needs time to rest, work, and enjoy life. For example, if a friend calls you late at night while you're trying to sleep, it can disturb your rest. Or if a coworker keeps asking for help when you're already busy, it can make you feel stressed and tired. In these situations, setting a time boundary is important. You might say, "I can talk tomorrow," or "I'm busy right now, but I can help later." This helps others understand your limits and helps you manage your energy better. Setting boundaries does not mean you are rude or unkind. It means you are being honest about your needs. At first, it may feel uncomfortable or scary to speak up. That is normal. Many people worry about hurting others or being misunderstood. But over time, setting boundaries becomes easier, and you start to feel more confident. When you respect your own boundaries, you teach others to respect you too. You begin to feel calmer, more balanced, and more in control of your life. Boundaries help you protect your well-being while still maintaining healthy and respectful relationships. Time boundaries mean that you choose how much time you give to other people and how much time you keep for yourself. Your time is valuable, and you are allowed to decide how you use it. For example, you might say, "I can help you, but only for 10 minutes," or "I need to leave at 5 o'clock today." These kinds of sentences help others understand your limits and help you avoid feeling rushed or exhausted. Next are personal space boundaries. These are closely connected to physical boundaries, but they also include your personal belongings and your environment. For example, You may feel uncomfortable when someone looks through your bag or your phone without asking. Or maybe you need quiet time alone in your room after a long and busy day. Personal space boundaries help you feel calm, safe, and comfortable. You can say something simple like, "Please don't go through my things," or "I need some quiet time by myself right now." So, why does everyone need boundaries? The answer is very simple. Boundaries help us take care of ourselves. Without boundaries, people may take too much from us. They may take too much of our time, our energy, or our personal space. When this happens, we can start to feel tired, stressed, frustrated, or even angry. We may notice that we are doing many things we do not actually want to do. Sometimes we say yes when we really want to say no. We do this because we do not want to disappoint others or hurt their feelings. But the truth is, when we do not set boundaries, we often end up hurting ourselves instead. We ignore our own needs, and over time this can make us feel unhappy or burned out. Boundaries also help other people understand us better. When we clearly explain our needs and limits, it becomes easier for others to treat us with kindness and respect. People are not able to read our minds. They learn how to treat us by what we say and what we allow. It is important to remember that setting boundaries does not mean you are rude, selfish, or unkind. Boundaries are not about pushing people away. They are about creating healthy and positive relationships where both people feel respected and valued. Good boundaries help relationships grow stronger, not weaker. When you set healthy boundaries, you are showing the world that you respect yourself. You are saying that your feelings, time, and well-being matter. And when you respect yourself, others are more likely to respect you too. Everyone has the right to set boundaries, no matter how old you are, where you come from, or who you are. Boundaries are helpful in all types of relationships. They are important with family members, friends, coworkers, and even strangers. When boundaries are clear, life feels more balanced, relationships feel safer, and you feel more confident being yourself. Boundaries are useful in all relationships, even with strangers. They help you stay true to yourself and create a life that feels safe, balanced, and healthy. The best part is that you can start setting boundaries today. You do not need to change everything at once. You can begin with small and simple steps. Over time, these small actions can lead to big and positive changes in your life. Now, let's take a closer look at why setting boundaries is so important. Many people do not realize how much boundaries can improve their daily lives. Some people think boundaries are only about saying no or keeping people away. But this idea is not correct. Boundaries are not walls that push people out. Instead, they help create healthy, respectful relationships, both with others and with yourself. One important reason boundaries matter is that they protect your time and energy. Every person has a limited amount of energy each day. If you keep saying yes to everything and everyone, sooner or later you will feel tired and overwhelmed. Imagine spending your whole day helping friends, coworkers, or family members. You answer every phone call, reply to every message, and agree to every favor. You never stop to rest, and you never take time for your own needs. By the end of the day, you feel completely exhausted. You may even notice that you have no energy left for the things that are truly important to you. This is what happens when boundaries are missing. But when you set clear boundaries, you protect your time and your energy. You create space to rest, relax, and focus on what really matters to you. This is not selfish behavior. It is a smart and healthy way to take care of yourself. Another reason boundaries are important is that they help you feel respected. When you clearly tell people what you can do and what you cannot do, you are teaching them how to treat you. For example, if you tell a friend, "I need some quiet time in the evening," and they respect that request, you will feel understood and valued. Clear communication builds trust and respect in relationships. On the other hand, if you never say anything and always accept everything, people may not realize that they are crossing your limits. This can lead to frustration, sadness, or anger inside you. Boundaries help prevent these feelings by creating clarity and honesty. When you set healthy boundaries, you show that your needs matter. You send a message to yourself and to others that your time, energy, and feelings are important. Over time, this leads to stronger self-confidence and healthier relationships. Boundaries help you live a life that feels more peaceful, balanced, and meaningful. When you do not say anything about your limits, people may continue crossing them without even realizing it. Most of the time, they are not trying to hurt you. They simply do not know where your limits are. This can slowly lead to frustration, hurt feelings, and misunderstandings. Setting boundaries helps avoid these problems. It gives other people a clear guide on how to treat you with care and respect. Another important reason boundaries matter is that they make relationships healthier. Some people believe that always saying yes will make others like them more. But this is not true. When you say yes all the time, you may start to feel unhappy inside. You may feel tired, ignored, or unappreciated. Over time, this can turn into resentment. Resentment is that quiet anger that grows when you give too much to others and forget about yourself. Healthy relationships are built on honesty, balance, and fairness. When you set boundaries, you are honest about your needs and feelings. You show people who you really are and what matters to you. This honesty helps both people feel comfortable and respected. The relationship becomes stronger because it is based on understanding, not pressure or guilt. Boundaries also help reduce stress and improve your mental health. When your boundaries are clear, your life feels more organized and calm. You know what is okay and what is not okay. You know when to say yes and when to say no. You also know that you have time for rest and self-care. This reduces anxiety, pressure, and emotional overload. Instead of feeling pulled in many different directions, you feel more peaceful and in control of your life. Another benefit of setting boundaries is that they help build confidence and self-respect. Every time you speak up and say what you need, you send a message to yourself that your needs matter. You remind yourself that your feelings, time, and energy are important. Little by little, this makes you stronger and more confident. You begin to trust yourself more and feel proud of taking care of your well-being. It is important to remember that setting boundaries is not selfish. It is a healthy and necessary part of life. Boundaries help you protect your time and energy. They help you feel respected by others. They help you build stronger and more honest relationships. They reduce stress and support better mental health. And they help you grow in confidence and self-worth. In the next part of this episode, we will talk about why setting boundaries can feel so difficult, even when we know they are important. Many people struggle with this, and understanding why is the first step toward change. Now that we understand what boundaries are and why they are important, let's talk about something many people experience. Why is it so hard to set boundaries, even when we know they can make our lives better? On the surface, setting boundaries may sound easy. You just tell someone what you need or what you do not want. But in real life, it often feels much more complicated and emotional. One of the biggest reasons people struggle with boundaries is fear. You may be afraid that if you say no, the other person will feel upset or disappointed. You might worry that they will stop liking you or even leave you. This fear can be especially strong with people you care about, such as friends, partners, or family members. For example, imagine a friend who often asks you for help with schoolwork or projects. You feel tired and busy, and deep down you want to say no. But you are afraid they will be angry or stop being your friend. Because of this fear, you say yes anyway, even though it leaves you feeling drained. When fear controls your choices, you often put other people's needs before your own, even when it hurts you. Another common reason boundaries are hard to set is guilt. Many people feel guilty the moment they think about saying no. They may tell themselves things like, "I should help because I'm a good person," or "If I say no, I'm being selfish." But this is not true. Setting boundaries is not selfish. It is healthy and necessary. For example, imagine your coworker asks you to stay late to help with a project. You have already had a long day and plan to go home and rest. You want to say no, but guilt starts to appear. You do not want to disappoint them, so you stay and help, even though you are exhausted. This guilt makes it harder to protect your time, your energy, and your health. Another reason many people struggle with boundaries is the strong desire to please others. Many of us grow up learning that being nice means always helping, agreeing, and putting others first. We may believe that our value comes from making others happy. Because of this, we say yes even when we want to say no. We worry that setting boundaries will make us seem unkind or difficult. But constantly pleasing others often leads to stress, burnout, and frustration. When you always focus on what others want and ignore your own needs, you slowly lose balance in your life. Over time, this can affect your happiness, confidence, and mental health. Learning to set boundaries helps you break this pattern. It allows you to care about others while also caring about yourself. Understanding why boundaries feel difficult is the first step toward change. Fear, guilt, and the desire to please others are very common feelings. You are not weak for feeling them. With practice and patience, you can learn to face these feelings and set boundaries in a calm and respectful way. In the next part, we will talk about how to recognize the signs that tell you it is time to set a boundary and what you can do next. Many people have a strong desire to make others happy. It feels good when someone says, "Thank you, you're the best," or "I'm so glad you helped me." These words make us feel appreciated, and we naturally want to keep others happy. But when we try too hard to please everyone, we can start to forget about our own needs and limits. For example, imagine you are always the one who organizes plans for your group of friends. You make the phone calls, book the restaurant or the place to meet, and check that everyone is ready. At first, this might feel good because you enjoy being helpful and everyone notices your effort. But after a while, you may start to feel tired, overwhelmed, or even a little frustrated. You wish someone else would take responsibility, but you keep doing it because you do not want to let anyone down. This constant desire to please can stop you from saying important things like, "I need a break," or "I cannot do this right now." Sometimes, the difficulty in setting boundaries is not fear or guilt. It is simply not knowing how to say no. Many people never learned how to express their limits in a polite, kind, and clear way. Some were taught as children that saying no is rude or wrong, and that they must always help others no matter what. As a result, when they try to set a boundary as adults, it can feel uncomfortable or even scary. For example, imagine your neighbor keeps asking you to water their plants or pick up their mail. You are busy, but you do not know how to politely say no. You worry that saying no will make you seem rude or selfish. Because of this, many people continue to say yes even when they really cannot or do not want to help, and this can create stress, frustration, and tiredness. Another reason setting boundaries is hard comes from cultural or family expectations. In some families or cultures, there is a strong belief that you should always help your relatives, no matter how tired or busy you are. Saying no to a parent, elder, or sibling may feel disrespectful, even if you are overwhelmed. For example, maybe your parents expect you to help with everything at home, cleaning, cooking, or running errands, even when you have schoolwork or a job. You want to set a boundary, but you worry that it will cause conflict or disappointment in your family. So, as you can see, setting boundaries is not always easy. There are many reasons why it can feel difficult. Fear is one reason. You may worry that saying no will upset others or make them dislike you. Guilt is another reason. You may feel selfish or bad for taking care of yourself. The strong desire to please people can also make it hard to set limits. Sometimes the challenge is simply not knowing how to say no politely. And family or cultural expectations can add another layer of pressure, making it feel impossible to take care of your own needs. All of these factors together explain why many people struggle with boundaries. But even though it can be difficult, setting boundaries is very important. With practice and understanding, you can learn to handle these challenges, say no when you need to, and protect your time, energy, and well-being. Over time, small steps in setting boundaries will help you feel stronger, more confident, and more respected by yourself and others. Here's the good news. Just like any skill, setting boundaries can be learned. It is something you can practice and improve over time. You do not need to be perfect right away. You can start small, take simple steps, and gradually build your confidence. Over time, setting boundaries will feel more natural and easier, and you will notice the positive changes in your life. Before we talk about how to set boundaries, it is important to understand why it can feel difficult. Setting boundaries often brings up strong feelings, such as fear, guilt, or discomfort. You might worry that people will be upset or disappointed if you say no. You might feel bad for putting your own needs first. These feelings are completely normal. The important thing to remember is that you are not alone. Many people around the world struggle with the same challenges. Feeling fear or guilt does not mean you are doing something wrong. It just shows that boundaries are an important and meaningful part of life. Learning to set boundaries is very similar to learning a new skill, like learning to ride a bike, cook a new recipe, or practice a sport. You start slowly, make small steps, and gradually get better with practice. You can begin with simple, easy boundaries, and as you become more comfortable, you can set more challenging ones. The more you practice, the stronger your confidence grows, and the easier it becomes to protect your time, energy, and feelings. Now, let's focus on a very important question. How do you know when it is time to set a boundary? Sometimes people do not realize they need boundaries until they feel completely overwhelmed, stressed, or unhappy. You may feel tired, frustrated, or even irritated, but not connect these feelings to the fact that you are giving too much of yourself to others. That is why it is so important to notice the signs your body and mind give you. These signs act like little alarms, reminding you to pause, reflect, and set limits before things get worse. One clear sign is that you feel tired all the time. Everyone feels tired occasionally. That is normal. But if you feel exhausted almost every day, even after sleeping or resting, it may mean that you are giving too much energy to other people and not enough to yourself. For example, imagine you have a friend who calls late at night and talks for hours. You want to rest, but you feel obligated to stay on the phone and listen. Or perhaps your boss keeps giving you extra tasks at work, and you stay late even though you're already tired. These situations drain your energy and show that you may need a boundary. Another sign is feeling stressed or overwhelmed. When you constantly think about what others expect from you, or when your mind feels crowded with responsibilities that are not yours, it is a signal that you need limits. Your body may even respond with tension, headaches, or difficulty sleeping. These are all ways your body is telling you, slow down, protect yourself, and set boundaries. A third sign is feeling frustrated or resentful. You may notice that you are quietly annoyed with people around you, even when you try to be kind. Frustration can appear when you do too much for others and too little for yourself. It is your mind's way of saying, something needs to change. Recognizing these signs is the first step towards setting boundaries. You are learning to listen to your feelings and take care of your own needs. Once you notice these signals, you can start thinking about what kind of boundary would help you feel safe, respected, and in control of your life. Sometimes, you may feel completely drained because you give too much of yourself to others without taking time to recharge. This can happen in many areas of life, at work, at home, or even with friends. If you are constantly helping others, staying late at work, or always available for your friends or family, your body and mind may start to feel tired all the time. Feeling exhausted almost every day is your body's way of telling you that it's time to protect your energy and your personal time. Your body is sending a signal that you need to rest, slow down, and create limits for yourself. Another sign that you may need a boundary is stress or anxiety. If you often feel worried, tense, or like you can't relax, it could mean that other people are crossing your boundaries. For example, imagine a coworker keeps asking you for help when you already have your own tasks to complete. Or perhaps a family member expects you to spend time with them when you really need some quiet space to rest. These situations make you feel like your time and energy are not under your control. When you set boundaries, you regain control. You can decide how much time and energy to give and when you need to say no. Once you start protecting your limits, you often notice that your stress and anxiety go down. You feel calmer and more in control of your life. A third important sign is feeling annoyed, frustrated, or even angry. Sometimes, you may feel upset with someone but not immediately understand why. For example, a friend may cancel plans at the last minute, or a neighbor may borrow your things without asking. You might try to tell yourself, "It's okay, it's no big deal." But deep inside, you feel irritated or upset. That feeling is a clear clue from your mind that something is wrong. Your personal boundaries are being crossed, and your emotions are giving you a signal to take action. Feeling anger or frustration in these situations is natural. It is your mind's way of protecting you and telling you that it's time to set limits. Paying attention to your feelings is one of the best ways to know where you need boundaries. Emotions such as feeling used, taken advantage of, or overwhelmed are important signals. Feeling used often happens when people expect you to always be available, always say yes, and always help, even when it is too much for you. For example, imagine a friend who frequently asks for favors but never offers to help you in return. Or a boss who keeps giving you extra tasks because they know you will not complain. When you notice that people only come to you when they want something, it is a strong indication that you need to create boundaries. These feelings, tiredness, stress, frustration, or being used, are not weaknesses. They are signs that you need to take care of yourself. Your mind and body are trying to tell you that it is time to set limits. Setting boundaries is a way of respecting your own needs while still caring for others. By listening to these signs, you begin to understand where your limits are and what you need to feel safe, balanced, and happy. Every moment you spend noticing your feelings and learning about boundaries is an important step. It not only helps you practice English, but also helps you take care of your life and your well-being. Recognizing these signs is the first step to making small but powerful changes. You can start by saying no politely, taking time for yourself, and clearly expressing what is okay and what is not. This is how you build a life that protects your energy, reduces stress, and creates healthier, happier relationships. Let's continue learning about boundaries and how they protect your time and energy. One of the best ways to understand boundaries is to look at real-life examples. These examples show situations where boundaries are clearly needed and how you can handle them in a simple and kind way. Example 1 is the late-night calls. Imagine you have a friend who calls you every night to talk about their problems. You care about them and want to help, but after a while, you feel tired and drained. You never get time for yourself to rest or relax. This is a clear sign that you need a boundary. You can still support your friend, but in a way that does not harm your energy. For example, you might say, "I really care about you, but I can only talk a few times a week or for a short time in the evenings." This shows that you are kind and supportive, but also protecting your own time and energy. Example 2 is at work, with a coworker asking for extra help. Imagine you already have a lot to do, and a coworker keeps asking you to finish their part of a group project. You feel stressed, overworked, and worried about completing your own work. This is the time to politely but firmly set a boundary. You could say, "I'm sorry, but I cannot take on more work right now." This lets your coworker know your limits, protects your time, and reduces your stress. Setting this kind of boundary is not rude. It is smart and necessary. Example 3 is about personal space at home. Perhaps a family member often walks into your room without knocking. You begin to feel like you have no privacy, no space to relax, or no quiet place to recharge. This is another clear situation where a boundary is needed. You could kindly say, "I need you to knock before coming in." This sets a simple rule that protects your personal space while still being polite and respectful. It's important to understand why these boundaries matter. Noticing these feelings does not make you a bad person. It does not make you selfish, mean, or uncaring. Everyone has limits, and it is healthy to recognize when yours are being pushed too far. By paying attention to the signs, feeling tired, stressed, frustrated, annoyed, or used, you can take action before you reach burnout. Setting boundaries helps you protect your energy, focus on what matters to you, and maintain better relationships with the people around you. Now that we have talked about why boundaries are important, why they can feel difficult, and how to notice when you need them, it's time to get practical. Let's look at simple steps to set boundaries. Many people feel nervous or unsure the first time they try. They worry that others will be upset or that they might seem rude. But here's the truth. Anyone can learn to set boundaries with a little practice. You do not have to do it perfectly. The most important thing is to start. Step 1 is to know your limits. Before you can set a boundary, you need to understand what is okay for you and what is not. Take a moment to think about your feelings and your energy. Notice when you start feeling tired, stressed, or frustrated. These moments are signals that your limits are being crossed. Write them down if it helps. For example, maybe you feel exhausted after staying late at work or after talking for a long time on the phone. Maybe you feel frustrated when people take your things without asking. These feelings show where you need boundaries. When you clearly know your limits, it becomes much easier to communicate them to others in a polite and confident way. Step 1 in setting boundaries is to know your limits. Before you can tell someone else what you need, you have to understand it yourself. Take some time to ask yourself important questions. What makes me feel uncomfortable? What situations leave me tired, upset, or stressed? When do I feel like someone is crossing a line? For example, maybe you feel annoyed when a friend texts you constantly while you're working. Or maybe you feel exhausted after saying yes to too many invitations in one week. Pay attention to your body, too. Do you feel tension in your shoulders, a tight chest, or an overwhelmed feeling in your mind? These emotions are signals that your energy and space are being stretched too far. Understanding your limits is about noticing your feelings and recognizing what feels right and wrong for you. When you clearly know your needs, it becomes easier to protect your time, energy, and emotional well-being. Step 2 is to be clear and simple. When you tell someone about your boundary, keep your message short and straightforward. You do not need long explanations or complicated reasons. Just clearly state what you need or what you cannot do. For example, if a coworker keeps asking for help while you're busy, you can simply say, "I'm sorry. I can't help you with that right now." Or if a friend is always late and it bothers you, you might say, "I would like us to meet on time, please." Using simple and clear language reduces confusion. When you talk too much or over-explain, the other person may not understand exactly what you want, and your boundary may be ignored. Step 3 is to use I statements. This is a powerful way to express your feelings without blaming or criticizing others. When you use I statements, you focus on yourself and your experience instead of accusing the other person. For example, instead of saying, "You never listen to me," you can say, "I feel hurt when I am not listened to." Instead of saying, "You are always asking too much from me," you can say, "I need some time for myself." Speaking from your own feelings makes it more likely that the other person will listen and respond positively, rather than becoming defensive. Step 4 is to stay calm and kind. It is completely normal to feel nervous or even a little anxious when setting a boundary, especially if it is new for you. But you do not need to raise your voice or get angry for your message to be effective. Staying calm and speaking kindly makes your boundary stronger and shows that you respect both yourself and the other person. You can still be firm and confident without being harsh. Step 5 is to practice and repeat. Setting boundaries is a skill, and like any skill, it becomes easier with practice. You might feel awkward at first, and that is okay. Every time you set a boundary, you build confidence, and it becomes more natural. Start with small boundaries like asking for quiet time, saying no to an extra favor, or protecting your personal space. Over time, You can set bigger boundaries with more challenging situations. The key is consistency. The more you practice, the more others will understand your limits, and the more comfortable you will feel protecting your time, energy, and well-being. By knowing your limits, being clear and simple, using I statements, staying calm and kind, and practicing regularly, you can create healthy boundaries in your life. Boundaries are not about being rude or selfish. They are about taking care of yourself, protecting your energy, and improving your relationships. They help you feel more in control, less stressed, and more confident every day. Step 4 is to stay calm and kind. In fact, the calmer you are, the stronger your message becomes. Staying calm does not mean you are weak. It shows that you respect yourself and the other person at the same time. For example, if someone raises their voice at you, instead of shouting back, you can calmly say, "I'd like to continue this conversation when we are both calm." Or, if a family member interrupts your quiet time, you might say, "I need a little time alone right now, but we can talk later." By staying calm and kind, your words carry more power, and people are more likely to listen to you. Kindness does not make you weak. It makes you respectful and strong. Step 5 is to practice and be patient. Setting boundaries is a skill, and like any skill, it takes time and practice to get better. People may not always respect your boundaries the first time you say them, and that is okay. Sometimes, you may need to repeat your message gently a few times before others truly understand and follow it. For example, if a friend keeps texting you late at night even after you've asked them not to, you can remind them politely, "Remember, I go to bed early, so I can't reply late at night." Over time, as you keep practicing, you will feel more confident and comfortable speaking up for yourself. Think of it like learning a new language or playing a musical instrument. The more you do it, the better you get. You do not have to be perfect, you just have to keep trying and stay true to yourself. Remember, you deserve to have your needs respected. You have the right to protect your time, space, and energy. Boundaries are not selfish. They are a way of caring for yourself while helping others understand how to treat you. They make your relationships healthier, reduce your stress, and help you feel more in control of your life.